It's halfway through 2026, and that means it's also halfway through of my 365-page journal. If you are also looking for a journal like this is the journal by Marjolein Delhaas. She's based out of the Netherlands. Incredible stuff. She's got these, which are a larger journal that have pockets that you can buy if you get these plastic sleeves to go over them, which is also really nice for storing on the inside and on both sides. Really great graphic design work. They're super simple, very easy to use, and just keep track of the year as it goes by. Very weird to see how much bigger it gets as the year goes on, but this is what it looks like about halfway through the year. I've got so much stuck in here, and I'm excited to look back and see the things I've already forgotten. So inside my journal, this is one of the first years that I actually started to paint and add more art in here. So it got very full very fast. You can see that there's a lot of stuff stuck in here. I also keep in some extra pages just in case I run out of space. So those are tucked in randomly, but I'll just pass through a bit. I honestly don't mind if there are days that I barely write, but I always do this this sort of like a summary of every day, and these summaries really help me just remember what happened without having to write down everything. It's like a bullet point list of my day, and you can kind of see I use it almost as a tracker of how busy I am or was, because sometimes that's all I have time for. And it's something that I can actually do post-mortem, so I can go back and I can see, oh, I was really busy, but let me look at my phone photos and see what I was doing, and I'll just jot those in. And then sometimes I use them to be able to come in later and then write about what was in the bullet points. This day I kept the color of my nails that I had just gotten, and a color that I was pretty obsessed with. And then I did a lot of adding in things from different places that I'd been, so restaurants, etc. I started keeping the stickers from fruits that I'd eaten, and there are way more fruits that I've eaten than I remembered to save the sticker, but that just became a cute thing to do. I usually track my workouts, but you can see here I started to get a little bit more open with what I saved. I had gotten a new printer for Christmas, and this was a failed attempt at trying to print out one of my cat, but I still thought it looked cool, so I saved it. But otherwise, just a bunch of writing, and then some to-do lists, as well as I started clipping in some art. So I was testing watercolor pencils at the time. Don't love how it looks in here, to be honest. It really pushed me to have not black and white in my journal, but it's coming together now that there's a lot of different things, and case in point, a lot of black and white in here. I really do like the aesthetic of when it is plain or really extremely colorful. There's kind of no in between for me, but just some things that I kept over time. Again, I've gotten some more pictures, got a vaccine. My mom got me this cool other calendar that's 365 days and in Japanese, so just one of the pages from in there. When I have days that I don't have enough room for, then I end up writing on scrap pieces of paper. So this was one of those days, and I remember I recorded a video with a scratchy pen that I used for that one, which was really nice, and ASMR, I guess. I bought stickers from one of my favorite creators. He makes stuff out of shoe boxes, so I added in a piece of the shipment that he had sent. But yeah, in general, you can see that there's so much else that I'm bringing in here. I've got a lot of stickers that I've collected, more of the fruit stickers too, as well as pieces that I've had at other places that I would just, if I had this in a journal somewhere else or a scrap piece of paper, I would lose it, but sticking it in here means that I don't have to commit to putting it on the page, and I can use better quality paper, and then I have someplace that I can keep it. Oh, I've also committed to trying to learn how to draw my cat this year, so this is one of my first attempts at Sesame in watercolor. Don't think it worked out that well, but still working on it. I write very small still, so I've gotten a lot of people asking me about the type of pen that I use, and it is this, I get them off of Amazon in like a 12 pack, but they're very, very tiny, 0.35. I use them whenever I can because I get the most out of the space. This is probably as small as I write, and I usually only do that if I know that I have a lot to write, so otherwise I guess I wouldn't have to. People ask me what the secret to writing small is, and it's really just a small pen. If you think about it, you can only make your letters so small if it's a really thick pen, so this is what I use. I think I had something here that I lost, or I was trying to stick something here, but got rid of it, so c'est la vie. Also trying to draw people. This was part of me and my 75 hard art edition, and my boyfriend let me draw him over FaceTime since I didn't have anyone to draw in person, which was very sweet. Continue that. Much prefer drawing in cartoons though. Here's again Sesame. I did try writing in color sometimes and just seeing how that felt, as well as with a larger pen. This is actually, I believe, a fountain pen that my mom got me. And you can see it's just so thick. If I did that all the time, I'd barely be able to write in comparison to when I write with something smaller. So it's really nice to have. It gives like a fun texture to it. It feels very old school, but I think this is 1 point and then this is 0.35. So just to give a bit of a comparison, this is about the same. I think this is 0.38. Then I've got a bunch of random things. We've had a new trend this year of having friends try to draw, because I'm always drawing at coffee shops and when we're out with friends. So now we've asked, I'll ask people to draw me as I'm drawing them, and it's been funny to collect that. And I've gotten a bunch of signatures, which is really sweet. Sometimes I keep my Uber Eats things in here and I don't know, I don't order out that often, but when I do, it's fun to keep them. I got a lot of plants this year, capped out on plants. I also went to, I don't know if you've heard of Nosberry Farm, but amazing cinnamon rolls, and when in season, really, really great strawberries that you can get there. It's like an hour drive south of Miami. I even tried pressing some flowers in here. Got the Chinese New Year going. And I took some time trying to refresh on learning Japanese calligraphy. Very rough, but it's always fun to practice. But again, you can see I'm going through a phase here of not writing as much as I usually do, and I don't guilt myself for that. Got some green and some blue. Again, I did try to push myself this year, but don't know how much that worked. And I was also doing a little bit of an effort to try to save the color of nail polish that I got at the time. So throughout, there's some blotches of that, which has been fun to remember. This one I wrote a lot, so goes out onto this extra sheet of paper. This, I think it was actually the Book of Alchemy, The Alchemist. It was a book on journaling that this was a response to with some of the prompts. But I'm very bad with answering prompts, so that didn't last very long. Though I try. Some of the prompts, like "How are you really?" was a prompt in that book, so I tried to use that in here. But anyway, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but usually I just like to write about the day. This was on a table at a pizza place that we went to called El Municello. Very, very good. If you live in Miami, definitely recommend it. It's lovely. The people were nice. Pizza was awesome. Don't know what happened here. We'll have to go back onto my Photos app and see where I was. Ooh, this was a wrapper at Ironside Cafe. This came around their pita burger, and so I ended up keeping it because it had a crossword puzzle that I completed. Even though it's tiny, still proud of myself. And then Zach the Baker. This, I guess, was a weekend of eating out. Trying to remember the plants that I got so I know how to take care of them, and I found a neon pink pencil, so really trying to stretch the boundaries here. And aside drawing Sesame, I've also tried to draw Andrew, my boyfriend's cats, Belle and Rocco. In general, I've just tried to be more experimental with what I've got in here. I've been doing a lot of painting this year, so it was really nice to, like, I feel like this is a palette that reminds me of a painting, because I can see all the colors that I used and remember that painting. So I need to do more of saving the palettes. It's really nice when I do it on these pieces of paper. I still do sew in some of the sheets sometimes, because I just feel like it looks more aesthetically pleasing than a staple. This was also just like a shopping list on a watercolor sheet of paper, because it was for an art store. I've been ordering coffee from this place called Atomic Roasters, and they have really fun branding. So there's that. Again, nails. This time I did an ombre. I've been trying to use my watercolors to get as close as I can to the colors that I had. Still need to do this new color. I've also tried using it as a place so that I can keep little sketches before I do my bigger paintings. So sometimes that's in here, and it just works doubly as a journal remembrance piece. I had to do a bunch of posts for work. We launched our Powerade FIFA World Cup work this year after 9 months of work, or a year or so of work. So I did some planning here. Check that out if you are watching the World Cup. But yeah, you can see a lot of missed days, and that's okay. Over time, it kind of adds up. Here's, instead of a palette, this time I had a bunch of, like where I scrape off the paintbrush onto here. I like adding in these extra pieces of paper because, again, I could hang them on my wall, or I could just like throw them in a pile of little drawings, but it's sometimes nice to remember days by drawings. I've been also trying out different mediums, so this was me trying some colored pencils. Don't love them, but I'll figure out something that I can do with them. I will say I don't write anything crazy in this journal. I have another journal that if I had anything emotional I could write in there, but this is mostly just like things that happen during the day. Went to TED Talks in Miami. I didn't even know that they were like a series that traveled, but they came to Miami. It was really cool to see them, and I did this sketch while there was a break. Got my olive oil off a can. Found a new coffee shop called Plant the Future. Very cute, amazing work. Another painting. It wasn't all blue, but for some reason this piece was only blue. But I really liked all the different shades, and it kind of reminds me of Cape Cod. A lot of writing that day. Then we're pretty much at now. So I've kind of been slipping off. I was home for 2 weeks, so that kind of explains the lack of writing in this section. But again, if I don't write, then I don't guilt myself, because I know that this was busy time. And I can always go back and look at my photos and rewrite. Or I can just take this as a time that I was like happy to be in the moment, and I don't know, I don't feel like I miss out on it too much. That's the lucky thing of having phones that track our memories too. But overall, you can see that it's fairly consistent, consistently inconsistent, whatever you'd want to say. But I try not to pressure myself, and when there's something to say, I say it. When there's not, then I don't. But I try really, really hard to keep up with always at least having those headlines. I think that's a really key part of the consistency and just coming back to this. And it also makes it feel worth it to do these 365 ones, because it feels like it's not like I'm wasting pages. One thing that I will say, if you are going to invest in one of these, is you have to be committed to carrying around a lot of stuff. Or at least if you add things in, it gets quite thick and quite heavy. If it wasn't heavy to start, then it will become heavy by the midway point of the year. And I know that I still have so much more to go. So it's like a committing to, I don't know how, I should weigh this. I mean, I would guess it's around 4 or 5 pounds at least. Again, that's because I add so much in here, but that being said, I wouldn't want it any other way. I do now have these smaller journals from there as well that I use for sketches. So I should do a walkthrough of these too. But this usually goes, for me, either in this top thing, or if I don't want it to get all wrinkled, then I'll just stick it on the inside. And then I carry around sometimes just this, or sometimes I'll carry around both. And then it works as a perfect pair of writing and drawing. And that is my 365-day journal for this year.